Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Zura and I have 13 plus years of experience working as professional software developer. I have built dozens of projects and deployed them on production environments. In this video, I'm going to give you step-by-step instructions how to take a Laravel project and deploy that on Cloudways managed web server and assign custom domain to it. Cloudways, which is managed by DigitalOcean, is one of the leading hosting provider out there. But the difference between all other hosting providers out there is that they provide managed web hosting. It is not shared hosting, meaning you don't share resources with everybody else. It is not VPS, meaning you don't have to manage your servers on your own. Rather than they give you server which they manage for you, but you get access what is important to you. And I think that's the key difference and the biggest advantage of Cloudways. No further ado, let's jump into the video. Now I'm going to show you every single step how you can deploy your Laravel project on custom domain using Cloudways. And we're going to also set up automatic deployment using GitHub Actions whenever we push something on main branch or whenever you make release. It's going to be automatically deployed on our server. We're going to start everything by creating an account on Cloudways. They offer 3 days free trial. No credit card is required, or you can use my coupon code, the Codeholic, and you will get extra 30% off on the first 3 months. Okay, you can try it out for the first 3 days. You can cancel it anytime. And the first thing what we need to do when you are inside Cloudways panel, you're going to add a new server, or you can use any existing server as well. So it's up to you. If you already have server, you can deploy multiple applications on your existing server. For simplicity, let's say you're brand new on Cloudways, you're going to add new server. You're going to choose the application. I'm going to choose a Laravel application. You're going to give the application name. You're going to give the server name as well. You can also choose the hosting provider. By default, it is DigitalOcean, but you can switch this into something else. And you're going to choose the server type as well. They have basic, general purpose, and CPU optimized. And the most affordable one is the basic with standard option right here. And you can reduce the resources, and it's going to start with $11 per month. Of course, if you are deploying something massive and you want more like CPU optimized, you can tweak this and choose different options. I'm going to stick with the minimum one, and we can choose the location right here. I'm going to choose something which is closer to me, and I'm going to click on launch now. This will take approximately 7 minutes, so I'm going to pause the recording and come back when this is done. The server and the application was created successfully. We're going to click on this. This is our public IP. This is the username and password which we can use to access the server using SSH. You can have a look inside the monitoring section. You can understand what's the RAM usage, CPU usage, and basically all the necessary details about the server. Inside managed services, you have a couple of service options which you can activate or deactivate or restart them, such as the Apache, Memcache, we have the MySQL, we have the PHP FPM as well, and Redis right here. Inside settings and packages, we can have a look at the default execution limit, upload file size, memory limit. In the advanced section, we can have a look at the maximum input variables. So these are basically some PHP, MySQL, or Nginx related options. From the packages section, we can change the PHP version. Like the default one is PHP 8.2, but we can switch this into PHP 8.3. This procedure will take several minutes. Once PHP update is done, you can go back inside settings and packages, and you can update MariaDB or something else. You can even install Supervisor to manage some background processes in your Laravel application. For example, if you have queue and you want to process background jobs using queue, you will need to install Supervisor for this. If you go inside the maintenance section, this is the place where you can set your scheduled maintenance time window. The server is managed by Cloudways. This is not a VPS server. You don't need to manage, and that's the good thing. Cloudways is going to manage the server for you. So you can set that window when you want it to be managed, and the planned server maintenance will happen at that time. If you want to scale up your server, you can click on this. From this vertical scaling section, you can scale up your server and just increase the resources if you expect some high load. You can also attach a block storage to your server if you plan to upload some photos or videos and you want them to be allocated close to your server. I think that's going to be the best place to attach block storage to your server. You can manage backups from the backup section, or you can even configure SMTP from the following place. You can provide your own SMTP details, or you can choose Elastic Email. You can enable that, which is the service that comes with Cloudways, and then Elastic Email will be used for email sending. Now, let's go into applications section. For this, we're going to click on this icon, all servers and applications. If this is the first time you created server in the application, the test app might not yet be appeared right here, so I just recommend to refresh the browser. Now you will see the application. We're going to click on this and open that, and we can click on this application URL and it's going to be opened in the browser. So this is the application, the default starter kit application that comes with Cloudways Laravel. It's also worth exploring what options we have right here in the following section. So we can spin up the staging environment section. So if we create our application for production and we obviously want staging environment for this as well, we're going to click on this and it's going to create the clone of the existing application, which is pretty cool. We can check the monitoring section. That's pretty obvious what you can find out there. We have the application security. Inside domain management, you can assign custom domain to the application. You can manage your cron jobs. If you assign custom domain to your application, you can install SSL certificates for them. You can manage backup and restore. We have the deployment via Git section as well, and we have the application settings from which you can change the application folder. And I'm going to actually do this right now. I'm going to call this deployment demo. And once you make some changes in the folders, it's also a good thing to reset file and folder permissions. If you have installed supervisor and you want to manage queue jobs, then this is the place. So in order you to be able to add new queue, as an example, you first need to install supervisor, which is something we haven't done. But once you install the supervisor, then you come here on the following application and you're going to see the button to add new queue running process in your Laravel application. Now, let's go into our server test application and we're going to authenticate using SSH. We have to accept this and we're going to use the password, and that's it. Now, all applications on the server will be located under applications folder. So if we navigate there and have a look, we see the following random name folder, which is our application, and we have this deployment demo, which is a symbolic link to our folder. So what we can do is actually navigate into this deployment demo. Now, inside this folder, we have a couple of more folders, and the interesting one is public HTML, which contains all the Laravel source code. So what I want to do is to delete everything from the public HTML and then clone my new repository inside the same folder. So I'm going to execute rm-rf, everything from the public HTML with asterisk. We're going to hit enter. Everything is going to be deleted, and then we're going to clone our project. I have this private repository I created exclusively for this tutorial, test Laravel project, and this is private, and that's the important one, because on public it's much easier, on private it's a little bit tricky, and this is what I want to show to you. In order us to be able to clone this private repository in our server, we have to add deployment key in our server. So let's click on settings, scroll down below, and deploy keys. So we can click add deploy key, but first we have to generate deploy key on our server. How to generate deploy key? We can click on the first link, deploy keys. This is going to open GitHub documentation. We can dismiss this. We can scroll down below and find this setup deploy keys section, and we have to execute this SSH keygen procedure. We're going to click on this, scroll down below a little bit, and we're going to copy the following command. So I'm going to copy this and we're going to execute this on the server. However, we're going to change the email address. Okay, we're going to leave everything default, and the public key was generated, and we're going to read the public key right now. It was generated in our home directory id _ed something, some number, and then .pub. So from the home directory, from the SSH folder, we're going to read that public key. It is public, it is not secret. So I'm going to copy this, and then I can close this, and inside deploy keys, we're going to add a deploy key. I'm going to enter this. I'm going to call this Cloudways server. Optionally, you can add multiple deploy keys on your application. and that's totally possible. We don't want to allow write access because we're going to only pull the information from the server. I have to pass the security steps, and the deploy key was successfully added on the server. Now, I can clone this project already on the server because we generated public-private keys and I added the public key to the repository. So let's open this terminal and I'm going to execute git clone. I'm going to paste the folder and we're going to clone this inside the public HTML. So public_HTML. So this is the folder inside which I want to clone the project. We're going to execute this. We have to type yes here, and the folder was already cloned. Now we're going to navigate inside public HTML and we can have a look. So we have this Laravel structure. Let's do the following. We're going to copy env example into .env. This is the first thing what we need to do. Then we're going to execute composer install. Now we're going to execute php artisan key colon generate, and the application key set successfully, and then we need to edit .env file content and parameters. So obviously you're going to change the application name, you're going to switch the application into production, but I recommend to do this only after you make sure the application is deployed, it is working successfully. Then I recommend to switch the environment into production, and at the same time I recommend to disable the debug mode. You're going to change the application URL, and we're going to do this a little bit later when we assign custom domain to our application. So I'm more interested in the database section because we can leave this into SQLite as a default database option, or we can use the MySQL, which is offered by Cloudways. So if we go inside Cloudways and if we access our application, right here we have the database section. So this is MySQL. So we can copy the database name, username, password. Obviously the host is going to be 127.0.0.1 and the port is going to be 3306. And you can configure this with the following credentials and you're going to connect to MySQL database, which is pretty cool. But I'm going to leave this into a SQLite for simplicity. However, you know how to choose the MySQL database if you want so. Now we're going to execute php artisan migrate to create all the necessary tables. Yes, and the migration has been applied successfully. And now let's have a look. Maybe the application is back and working, but this is going to be our new application at the moment, and voila. So we have this brand new Laravel application, and this is actually a brand new application. I didn't customize it at all. I'm just showing you how to deploy your Laravel project right there. Okay. That's pretty cool, but there are two things remaining. First, we're going to assign custom domain to this application, and second is that whenever we push something on the main branch or create new release, we want it to be automatically deployed on the server, right? So let's do one thing at a time. So first, I'm going to assign custom domain to this application. Now, let me show you two ways how you can change DNS settings and point your domain to just created Laravel application. I'm going to show you two ways. First one is the easy and the second is the best one in my opinion. So if you have purchased the domain in any popular domain purchase providers, such as GoDaddy as an example, on which I have my primary domain purchased, thecodeholic.com. So you're going to connect the domain to somewhere else. For this, you're going to manage DNS settings. Right here, we have this link, manage DNS. So this is the first way. And we're going to add new record. So we can click on this DNS records. So right now, the thing is that right now, GoDaddy is not the DNS managing provider because I moved that thecodeholic.com into Cloudflare as a DNS management provider. Cloudflare is much more than just DNS management provider, but in this case, we're interested in managing DNSs. So if you have purchased your domain on GoDaddy, you can find this add new record button right here, and you're going to add new a record where you point your primary domain to the IP address of our server. Our server IP address you can find inside applications right here. This is our server's IP address, public IP. So you're going to take that IP address and you're going to use right here when you try to add new a record. Okay, so this is the first way. Second way, which I did for the codeholic.com, is to move the DNS management into Cloudflare, and it is much more than just DNS management. So it is the DDoS protection, and it has a lot of other benefits. So this is the Cloudflare. You have to create an account. It is free. I don't pay anything for doing this on Cloudflare. So you're going to click on the domain, and then we're going to click on DNS on the left side right here. And this is the place where you manage DNSs for your domain. Okay, so right here, I have all my subdomains of the primary domain. I have all my CNAMEs and TXT records for the email sending and everything. So I manage everything right here. So now we're going to add new A record. I'm going to choose the type to be A. If you use @ symbol right here, this means that your primary domain will point to the following IP address. And this is the IP address right here. So if I do this, my primary website, thecodeholic.com, will point to the following application, and whenever you go into thecodeholic.com, you're going to see the following application. By the way, you can check thecodeholic.com. It's my website, and you can find one of the best, if not the best, Laravel for beginners course right there. Now I want to add subdomain of the primary domain. Okay, so I'm going to call this cloudways.thecodeholic.com. So if I type Cloudways here, that means a subdomain. So cloudways.thecodeholic.com now will point to the following IP address. And I'm going to deactivate this proxy status right now. All right. So you can do the exact same thing on GoDaddy if you don't transfer your domain into Cloudflare, right? So you're going to provide it @ symbol for the primary domain or some text for the subdomain. Now I'm going to add this right here. Cloudways.thecodeholic.com is going to be my domain for the application, and I'm going to go inside application right now, and we're going to click on domain management. Okay, and I'm going to add a new domain to my application. And this is going to be cloudways.thecodeholic.com. I'm going to save changes. I'm going to also make this domain to be primary domain. So we're going to click on this 3 dot right here, and we're going to click on this make primary. Okay, and now we're going to add SSL certificate to the following domain. So I'm going to click SSL certificate section. We're going to choose let's encrypt, and I'm going to provide my email address that is necessary just to be informed when the certificate is about to expire or something like this. So inside domain, so you fill your email, domain, and click install certificate. The certificate has been installed successfully, and auto renewal is also active, meaning it's going to be automatically renewed when it's about to be expired. And if we check the access details of our application, we're going to see, actually, we have to reload the browser. Now you're going to see new application URL under access details section. So I'm going to click on this, open that, and this is our new application running on a custom domain, and it has SSL certificate installed as well. Again, please keep in mind that if you want your primary domain to be assigned on the following application, then you have to simply assign a different DNS record from your DNS management settings, whether this is where you purchase your domain or if you transfer this into Cloudflare, then you're going to use @ symbol to add a record into your DNS settings. And in my case, it would be thecodeholic.com, the following application. Now let's set up automatic deployment. Whenever we push something or create new release, it is going to be automatically deployed into our server. So here is a deploy.yml file, which you can find in the video description, a link to the file, and you can download it and put it in your project. You're going to put this file inside .github/workflows folder. So that's the special naming. Make sure you give it the following name. .github/workflows, and you can call this whatever you want. I call this deploy.yml, and you give it the name. So this is the Cloudways deploy, so it's a logical name. So then you're going to choose on which events we're going to listen to. So in this case, I'm listening to pushes on the main branch. Whenever we push something on the main branch, then the workflow will be triggered. We can change this, and we can uncomment this and release created. So when there is a new release created, then this workflow will be triggered. You can leave both, or you can just leave one. So I'm going to leave this on push on the main branch. Then we're going to scroll down below, and we're going to execute the following jobs when something is pushed on the main branch. So we're going to have only one job, and this is going to be the build job. All right, so we're going to run this on the latest Ubuntu server. That's a special naming. And then we have a bunch of steps to execute on this Ubuntu latest server. The name is whatever you want, checkout code, and then we're going to use actions checkout v2 to use the following image to check out the code. We're going to set up the PHP. We're going to use the following image for this, and PHP version is 8.4. We're going to set up the Node.js. We're going to use the following image for this, and the Node version is 20. Then we're going to create .en file. We're going to copy env example into .en. We're going to install composer dependencies with the following command to make it not interactive and with no progress, anything. So we don't need anything, any fancy things. We're going to run this in the GitHub Actions server. So it's going to run in the background. So that's part of the workflow. We're going to set the application key. We're going to create the storage link. We're going to execute the migrations. We're going to install Node.js dependencies. We're going to build assets. And then we're going to execute PHP artisan test to just test our application before it is deployed to the server. All right, so if all these steps have been passed, if there were no errors so far, that's good. We can deploy our project on our server. And now this is the final step, deploy PHP to server. So if success, we're using this success special method to check if the previous steps have been completed successfully, then we're going to use the following image to connect to our server and to deploy the project right there. Okay, and for this we need special variables, secret variables in our repository, which I'm gonna add. But SSH host is going to be the host of our server. If we go into our server details, SSH host is going to be the following IP. SSH username is going to be the following username. SSH port is going to be the default SSH port, which is 22, and SSH key is going to be the private key using which we will be able to connect to our server. We are not going to do authentication using password, but instead we're going to do the authentication using public private keys. Now, once we are authenticated in our server, we're going to navigate into the server folder. So our server is located, let's just type pwd. Our server is located inside applications, deployment demo, public HTML. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste this right here. So we're going to navigate into applications, deployment demo, public HTML. All right. Then we're going to check out our branch. So we can check out into main, or we can first call git fetch -- all, and then we can check out into ref name, which is going to be main. Or if you decide that you want to listen to when the new release is created, basically if you comment out this part and uncomment this part, all right, so then you're gonna just take that event release tag name. So if you release a version like 1.0, then the tag name will be 1.0, and you're gonna comment out this part. Actually, we should do it like this, and then uncomment this part, right? So in this case, because I am listening to a push on the main branch, so I'm gonna comment out this part, and I can completely remove this part, and just like this, we are checking out into the ref name, which can be also main. Okay, once I navigated inside the folder, once I fetched everything and check out main, then I can execute composer install on the server already. I can execute npm install, npm run build, and a couple of other artisan commands which is necessary when you deploy the project, such as the migrate, config clear, road cache, and so on. Okay, alongside with these things, I also changed the welcome.blade.php file and just write hello Cloudways. Whenever we push those changes, the automatic deployment should be triggered, and on our application cloudways.thecodeholic.com, we're going to see welcome Cloudways. We are not going to see the following page anymore. However, we have to do those things, like we need those variables: SSH host, SSH username, SSH port, and SSH key. Let's go into our repository, click on settings, scroll down below, and we're going to click on this secrets and variables, and we're going to click on actions. I'm going to scroll down below, and we can add environment secrets or repository secrets, and I'm going to add a repository secrets, and let's give it SSH host. All right, and this is going to be IP address of our application. Another secret is going to be SSH username, and this is going to be the master whatever. We need SSH port, which is going to be 22. And the last one is SSH key. Okay, this is the interesting part. The SSH key is going to be the private SSH key, which is going to be installed on our GitHub Actions server. And the idea is that GitHub Actions server should be able to connect to our Cloudways server using SSH with public private keys and to execute the following commands on the server. So we need to give ability GitHub Actions server to connect to our Cloudways server. For this, we need new pair of public private keys. How to generate public private keys? We can go inside deploy keys. We can click on this deploy keys right here and scroll down below and run SSH keygen procedure. Scroll down below and we can execute the following command, but I'm gonna do this one because this is slightly older algorithm and it generates a longer keys, and the Cloudways needs longer keys actually. Okay, some of the systems simply does not support this new ID algorithm and they need these long keys. So I'm going to get this and I'm going to generate public private keys. And the thing is that you don't need to generate this on the server. You can generate this locally. So I'm going to open now new terminal. I'm going to paste this and I'm going to generate this locally. I already have public private keys generated locally, so I don't want to overwrite my public private keys. So I want to provide _temp right here. So we're going to hit the enter, no passphrase again, and it generated ID RSA temp and ID RSA temp.pub. So this is the public, this is private. Right now we need private key, and this is the long private key. We're gonna get this and we're gonna put this inside secrets and variables in our project. Let's click on this add repository, secret SSH key, and we're gonna paste this private key. It's good. And we're gonna get the public key and we're gonna put this in our public keys section from the browser. Like right here, I'm gonna click on this SSH public keys on the server itself. I'm gonna paste this and the label is going to be GitHub Actions. I'm gonna click on submit. Now we made the commit and push the deploy YML and welcome.blade.php, and let's open Actions tab in our repository and we see the new workflow has been triggered. This is the add GitHub workflow. It has one build job which is running and it is following the steps, executing the code and doing all the things. And let's see if this is successful. So having a look at the logs, everything seems to be working. So it checked out into origin main branch and there are 2 commits which needs to be pulled. But the thing is that we don't have git pull mentioned anywhere here. So we're going to add git pull as one of the script step right here. So when we check out on the main branch, we're going to execute git pull and then composer install and the rest of the things. Now, once we commit and push the changes right here, a new workflow has been triggered. This has been successfully completed and we see a green check right here. Now, if we check our application in the browser, we are going to see hello Cloudways L. I guess that L is a simple typo which I mistakenly typed. So the thing is that the automatic deployment works. Alright my friends, that's it for now and I hope you learned something new. To get started with Cloudways, check the very first link in the video description. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next time.